Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of Unbreakable with L&K. Today's topic is fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. And since Elle has been diagnosed with both, and she's had both since she was 11 or 12, she's going to talk to us about what life is like with these illnesses.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elle, and yes, unfortunately, the symptoms for me started when I was 11, and I was not diagnosed, however, until I was 18. So some of the symptoms that were recognized immediately was the extreme fatigue. I would come home from school, and my mother said I would look like a ghost. I was that white. And she said she could look in my eyes. You could see just they were glazed over and exhausted, I would have to take a nap before I could even do homework or anything for that matter, because I spent the whole day pushing myself, spending my spoon, so to speak, just to learn.
And is it still like that for you now, or?
It is. I unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I'm one where I have to take a nap. If most days I should say I have to take a nap. It's just my body cannot get enough sleep. Even if I were to take a 4-hour nap and were to sleep a full 8 hours that night, still would wake up tired. It doesn't matter how much you sleep, you are always going to be tired. There's just different levels of it, depending on what's going on and things like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you go through bouts of insomnia. Yay! How does that work? You have lack of sleep, but then you can't sleep.
I can relate to that.
Right? You're just, I'm so tired. There's just nothing you can do about it. You wade through it. It's all you really can do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I don't remember most of my high school life because I was so tired or in so much pain. I missed so many classes and days of school because, of the pain,
Mm-hmm.
or the fatigue. Like I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't. Weather was a big thing too because I lived up north. When it would get cold and start getting cold, which some people would be like, "That's not cold," but literally when the temperatures would get down anything below 65, I was curled up in a ball.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own bedroom, obviously, and it was in the basement, so I had my own heater, and it was always set to 80 or 90
Mm-hmm.
to combat the pain. And my parents were just like, "How can you breathe?" I'm like, "This helps me survive."
What is the heat? What is the heat like for you now that you live in the South?
Now for this, it's funny because as long as it's warm and it doesn't go below 70 outside, even I shouldn't say that because the closer you get to 70, I would say like 75 and below, I'm going to start different levels of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another weird thing weather-wise, even hurricanes, like the pressure change,
Mm-hmm.
when you get like hurricanes and stuff, sometimes my body will start aching. I can feel the pressure change.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So that can trigger pain and as well. Another one that I still have, is really annoying, and I know you can relate to it. Is we call it fibro fog, brain fog, lupus fog, same thing.
Spoony fog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. In fact, I found out. I think there's cancer fog as well. If you take not cancer fog. When you take what do you take?
Brain fog, perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's chemo. I think if you take chemo, that also is a side effect. So there's a thing called chemo fog, which is, so apparently it's not as uncommon as we think it is. So it really should just be called brain fog and leave it at that, I guess. But it's really annoying. Like just now, that's an example of it. You're in the middle of a conversation and you're like, I just had it. It was right there. And, half an hour later, it randomly will come back. That was it.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
You're like, you're grabbing your phone to pick, I remembered what it was. So yeah, that's something that is persistent. It's always, it just pops up whenever it wants to. You have no idea. But it is worse when you are under a lot of stress. I do notice that for myself. If the stress is higher, it's harder to, it's more brain fogged. It's easier to get confused. It just throws you off in so many ways. And then long-term stress it turns into like you have your emotional and mental stress, right? But when you have fibro, you wear it. If that makes sense, like
it does.
Your whole body reacts to it. It's not just in your brain, your psyche, and all of that. Like your body is literally responding. And for me, it's like it's a nerve. It's a nerve pain. That's what fibromyalgia is. It's in your nerves. So it feels. For my best way of describing it has been. I have never had arthritis, but this is the best way I can explain. It's like having arthritis, but it's all over your body.
Oh, wow.
Right. So where all your nerves are, it's where it feels like it could have arthritis there.
Wow.
It could be stiff. It can just hurt for no reason. That's how it feels for me.
I think that's going to surprise a lot of people because I know a lot of people understand that fibro hurts, but I don't think people realize it's that painful.
I wake up some days, I feel like I'm 93. I can't even stand up straight sometimes.
Wow.
Because my back is just aching so badly. Or my legs or my thighs or my shins. I don't know why. Just, hey, it's my day today. But yeah, I'm literally 98 that day. If I have to go out that day, I'm walking like a 98-year-old. Because it hurts. Everything hurts. And that's something, people don't realize either. Yeah, you look like you're young. Yeah, it was 11 when this all started. Yeah, it was 18 when I was diagnosed. So it was even harder for people to believe that something like that was even possible.
They didn't even believe in it back then. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why it took so long to get a diagnosis because nobody believed. None of the doctors know.
There's still doctors that don't.
Exactly. I still struggle to this day with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's on your chart, they'll gloss over it and it's like, oh, need a new doctor. It's amazing how there's still so many people that don't acknowledge it.
I hear a lot of people I see it online a lot where people will say, oh, fibromyalgia is just that thing that they call it when they don't know what's wrong with you. And I'm like, how can you be so ignorant to this? Like, seriously.
I've had people tell me that too, actually. Yes. And they survived, but
lucky for them.
But, yes, unfortunately, there are people like that. And I will just say they are very ignorant and need to educate themselves because it's invisible. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Which is a lot of illnesses, as we know. But, somebody like me goes to a grocery store and parks in a handicap spot, I'm getting looks.
Ugh.
I get
Yeah.
looks. Of course I'm going to get looks. There's
Has
nothing wrong
anyone
with her.
has anyone ever confronted you and said something?
No, because I have my roommate with me, so that I'm
That's
good.
good. That's good. Because I know that happens, and I don't understand people that do that. That's just so cruel, you know?
It really is. It's like, do I have it? I have it. I have the tag. Why are you screaming at me?
Right.
If the government said I could have it, who are you? It's kind of my, but it's one of the benefits, I guess, to being partially blind is you can just kind of ignore it easier. But it's just, yeah, I do not like those kind of people. Let's see, what was the other? So I touched on the fiber pain and the nerve pain. Also, this is something, I don't even know if this is like a thing, but this is my description of it. I call it phantom itching. And it's like you just, any place on your body, it's like you'll just start scratching and keep scratching and you're like, I must have got bitten or something, right? And you start realizing there's no bump, there's no nothing there. And no matter how much you're scratching or trying to soothe it, it will not stop. And so I call it phantom itching because it basically my nerves are just reacting for whatever reason, and now I'm itching.
Which makes sense, absolutely. But how annoying it is. I've had it happen to me too, and
like last night, both of my legs. I'm like, oh. At first, I thought it was like mosquito bites, and I'm just like, and and then I'm realizing, no, there's no bites anywhere. So, and there's not. I haven't found anything to really ease it or help it. You just kind of have to ride it out without tearing your skin off in the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if anybody else has that, but other than you and I, I'm sure there's other people, but
yeah, I'm sure.
I know where my dad has neuropathy, so I know he has similar things like that. So there's got to be something. I just don't know the right term.
So you had said something about disability and getting your handicap tag and stuff. How easy is it for somebody? I was just thinking, how easy is it for somebody with fibromyalgia to get any sort of disability?
Okay, so I got approved for my disability back in 2001, and it took 2 attempts, and I to this day believe the only reason I got it was because I was able to find, is it a pro bono lawyer, disability lawyer, where you only pay if you win?
Right.
So that was the only way we could afford it. But it is a hassle to get. It's not an easy process to get, and especially when you have a diagnosis like fibromyalgia. And at that time, I only had the fibromyalgia, the chronic fatigue, and the hearing loss. Right. So they were focusing on the chronic fatigue and the fibromyalgia. And when I was before the judge, and it wasn't in a courtroom or anything, just like around a table, but I'm across the table from a judge. That's not intimidating. Anyway, and then it was like,
yeah, right.
It was like two or three other people, two or three people on each side of the table as well, and then my lawyer. And they basically just asked me a whole bunch of different questions, and weather, climate, what temperatures came into play actually in the interview with it. I'm like, who would have thought they'd ask this?
Right.
But I think that was actually one of the biggest reasons why they approved it, because they realized no matter what job I had, if it was too cold, I wouldn't be able to do it. if it was the perfect temperature, but I was doing too much physical labor, I can't do it.
Right.
So there was all these different, once, and I was just like so happy.
Well, it's just like it must be hard to get it for fibromyalgia when some doctors don't even believe in it. So I'm glad that you got it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm trying to remember. You have to have doctors that are willing, to write up and speak for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
The more information you give them from your doctors about any condition, not just fibro, the better it is, because doctors validate what you're saying.
So when you got your disability, did they consider your depression and anxiety too, or was it just the fibro and CFS?
It was just the fibro and the CFS. The depression and anxiety. Depression, I should say, was a little bit pre-existing before, but once I got those conditions, it was definitely amplified. And then, of course, the anxiety, you're triggered a lot because of your lack of abilities to do certain things,
Mm-hmm.
or your lack of control. A lot of times, you just feel like, I can't even get up off the chair. How am I going to go do whatever?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to make anybody anxious or depressed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one thing in closing, I would like to say to my fellow FMS and CFS warriors out there, especially to those of you new to it, there are not going to be typical days. That will not exist anymore. Every day is going to be different, more than likely. You do not know if tomorrow you're going to be full of energy and, be able to get some stuff done, or if you're going to feel like you're 98. So you're going to, one of the things you have to learn is patience with yourself and your body, and, learn to roll with the punches, so to speak. Punches is probably not the best word to use, but
maybe it is.
Because you do feel like it whether you have been or not. Yeah. But just, especially if you have anxiety like myself, you've got to learn to go with the flow, and be kind to yourself, because a lot of other people aren't. You know that. So.
That's true. Yep. So what is our question of the week?
Oh, this is a good one. So somebody asked, are you worried about the long-term uses of your medication?
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think there's any medication that okay, there might be like a handful that you might not be worried about, but for the most part, yeah, there's a couple that I take that definitely long term is a little scary.
Yeah, I think like for me, the prednisone that I was on for 5 years, that was scary.
That is absolutely terrifying.
I was finally able to come off of that, and I was so happy. It took a year to
Yay!
wean off it. Yeah, but yay, I'm off it. So long-term steroid use is definitely scary. And then the other thing is I do take methotrexate, which is a low-level chemotherapy, and that's scary for anybody to take.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to weigh it against what it's like if you don't take it. So if I don't take it, lupus is running rampant in my body and starting to wreak havoc on my organs.
Mm-hmm.
It's less damaging. So people could say, well, you're taking a poison. Well, technically it is, but it's keeping my disease from killing me. So,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the future they'll come out with something better, and I hope they do.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff they have doesn't work for me. So you take what you can get,
Right. Well, it's like
every day's a blessing. That's all I was going to say. Every day's a blessing.
Absolutely. That's how you have to look at it. One of my medications that I take causes blurry vision.
Lovely. Just what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those that I can't not take. So it's like, yep, this is my luck. This is how life goes.
It's so funny though, because when I first got diagnosed, I swear to you, they kept giving me different medications to deal with the symptoms of the medication I was taking for something else. And it was like crazy.
Yeah.
And eventually I was just like, can we kind of like figure out what's necessary here? Because I don't need this many pills.
Yeah.
And some doctors will do that to you. I finally found doctors that are more of the mindset that the less is more. But yeah, you always end up with these side effects that are something that you're already dealing with and you're trying to get rid of.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. The joys of being a spoonie.
Exactly. Okay, so what topic are we doing next week?
Next week, the topic of next week is going to be the stages of chronic illness and how it relates to the stages of grief.
Which is going to be awesome. I'm so excited for this topic.
Me too. I think this is going to be a really informative one for a lot of people.
I do too. And so I'm going to leave you guys with a final thought. We've changed it from the quote. We're doing final thoughts now.
Yeah.
I know that there are still some people who don't even believe that fibro is a real illness or not all that bad. But fibro is the 6th most painful illness. It is more painful than appendicitis, heart attack, kidney stones, arthritis, pain after surgery, slip discs, and gout. So please be kind to your fibro community.
Yes, please. We would really appreciate it. And as always, remember, you are not alone.
Never. We're always here for you.
Yep.
See you later, Spoonies.
Bye.
Bye.